that they would like answered or pushed in the right direction at all, if there's anyone out there at all? I think Bob's got one here.
I don't know if you use this terminology in America, but you know, we require about 800 megawatts for the over 1 million people that live in North Queensland. But we are about 1,500 kilometres to the nearest power station. So it's a very inefficient arrangement at the present moment. Can I ask how many jobs, growth in population, resulted from this initiative in Texas?
Okay, well, I get that one. All right, that's a good, very good question, by the way. You know, one of the criticisms of renewables is, and as you probably know here, once they kick off some of these projects, you know, they're going to have a lot of folks coming to town that are going to be here for a temporary period in order to construct the facilities, because it takes hundreds and hundreds of people, skilled people, in order to build these projects. You know, this technology that you have on wind, every one of those wind turbines is worth several $1 million. So, you know, it's not something that just anybody can do, but they did employ, one thing we do require is that they employ all the local people that they can. They have a job fair, and dirt contractors and electricians, anybody that the local community can supply, laborers and so on, that they hire those people locally, and that they give to local, for example, to the fair. Part of the thing we write into our contracts is, you know, by the way, we're having this fair, and we want you to put up $20,000, you know, that sort of thing. But the answer to the question is, once it's up and running, you know, generally one of the criticisms is, well, it doesn't employ a lot of people, because, you know, generally one person can operate probably about 100 turbines, or oversee about 100 turbines. Well, with 2,000 turbines, that's not a whole lot of people, but you got to staff those places 24/7. But once the industry gets big enough, then it's going to employ more and more people. And one thing I can tell you for sure, these are really high-paying jobs in the United States. Again, for wind technicians, very, very good money. For lawyers, for anybody that gets into the business, they don't have enough people to do the jobs that they need, because they've got to hire people from the area where they are. So they don't employ as many people, but it does transform the employment situation in that it's broader, that you may live here, but you may do like a lot of people in Sweetwater. You may live here, but you work in North Dakota. Well, they pay you enough, that's not bad. I don't mind coming to Australia anytime. It's a long way, believe me. I slept 10 hours last night to get over jet lag.
It's definitely a nice little trip. Any other questions? I know Kate says she had one. Do you know one as well, Bob? She.
You want to bet that, Bob?
We had a lot of I'm the local congressman. We had a lot of controversy at the first wind farm in Australia, which is about 200 kilometres north of where we are now. It reached its end of life, and they dumped the blades on the ground. You know, it covered a lot of acreage, and it was very controversial. We got a lot of criticism out of it. So what do you do with the blades in the United States?
Another great question here. Actually, that is a bit of a controversy where we're from, because we had a gentleman that came with a bunch of money from Oregon and said, I've got an idea. I'm going to invest a lot of money in the community. He bought a plant, built it up for a recycling plant to recycle the turbines, primarily the fiberglass parts and the ingots, and sell them to the auto industry. It was a great idea. Hired a couple hundred people. and then he couldn't get an EPA permit from the federal government because it kicked off a bunch of dust. And so he went bankrupt. Well, he left all these turbines, he got all these turbines and he put them on land, and we call it turbine graveyard. They have all these turbine blades and everything stacked up, and he left town and now they're looking for him. I haven't found him yet. He's been indicted on all levels. I think he's on the international wanted list. So that is a problem. But one of the ways the state of Texas has dealt with that, as of last September, they passed a law that said that is on the wind turbine companies, and they have to be responsible to remove all of that equipment from the state, and they need to take it somewhere and recycle it. And there are plants that do that. There's one, there's some in Indiana, there's some in other areas of the United States that are doing that. I think that's going to be again, a future evolving technology, because that's going to have to be dealt with especially with the repowering. What are you going to do with all those old turbines? But again, that creates yet another industry that people are going to be able to get involved in, because they're going to be able to eventually take care of that problem. But we put the onus on the wind companies in Texas to make it their expense to take care of it, and they'll figure out a way, because believe me, they've got plenty of money. And most of these, the other thing I might add that you deal with, there's only really a couple of American wind companies. Most of the folks that we deal with come from other countries, which is great. We're glad to have them there, but they got to comply with our laws, and they've got to do it our way. And so I think that's the way you end up having to do that, but it is a problem that's being worked out right now. And just like any other industry with oil and gas, you got pollution. With coal mining, you got issues. You got issues with any kind of energy, but we all got to have it, because when I go home at night, I want to turn on the light, and I want to watch TV. I want to have electricity. If we didn't have it, it'd be really bad. And so we got to figure out how to deal with those other issues, and that's one of the big ones.
Important question, very important. My memory serves me right. The movie The Best of the Whorehouse in the West, Dolly Parton, that was Sweetwater, wasn't it? I just wondered how the brothel was built on it.
That was LaGrange, but close enough.
LaGrange, close enough.
Right. Close.
Close enough's good enough. What I think we might do here is we might wrap.
For Hughenden Dam proposal, and that is just so exciting, and we want to put on record our thanks to Kate for securing that water for our dam here. There's still $180 million sitting in the account in Canberra to build the dam here. $180 million sitting in that account, and the first time we've been able to move forward, Kate got this water allocation. So good on you, Kate.
Well done, well done. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll be back around about 2 o'clock to have another quick little chat, and here's some more good stories as well. I like it. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it. Coming up very short, I'm going to head back over to the next round.